So recording in this format is actually like really weird. It's more like we're doing a podcast type of deal than a
Kind
Let's
of.
Play.
We could be paying a little more attention to what's going on in the gameplay.
We could be, but at the same time, I don't want to sacrifice our conversations that we've been having.
Mm-hmm.
So we've just been going from tangent to tangent, and that's what good conversations do.
Absolutely.
They just move like that, and yeah, I think I'm really just hoping that I notice in time when we are going to be done playing here. Like, at the very least, we know the big event,
Yeah.
but
By the way, I love... Oh, we're almost back.
what's up?
I love the changelog here at the bottom.
What? Stormcaller changes everything. Oh god.
Like, oh man, they scrapped it and went back to the drawing board.
Guess
Ooh,
it didn't
boy.
go well.
That's hilarious.
I'm really curious about how you even can make Destiny into D&D without just fucking everything up.
Apparently. Well,
Like-
that would be my main criticism of the project so far. Is... Oh, we're back.
No, I was planning
But-
on just going with that conversation.
My main criticism of the D and Destiny project right now is primarily that they're trying to emulate the video game a little too much.
Uh-huh.
So each and every one of the classes and its subclasses has the same 3 core abilities that they have in the game. They
Wait.
have
Is it based on D1 or D2?
D1.
Okay.
So they have a grenade, a melee, and a super, right?
Oh.
But that takes up a lot of space in the class,
Yeah, mechanically.
Like, I think each subclass and class only gets about 5 or 6 features outside of those abilities after you're done with them, and all their upgrades and variants. So, like, from level 1 to 5, you're just gaining all those abilities, and everyone's gaining the same ones. I mean, not exactly the same, because some, like, grenades are different, melees do different things, but in essence, you're getting one AoE ranged attack, and everyone gets one, and you're getting one special melee ability, and everyone gets one. And then the supers are very different, because
Right.
that's good. But
But what it means is that right off the bat you have 3, unique abilities per class, but they're each like
buried at
templated.
higher levels.
Yeah, and what it comes down to though is that you don't have a lot of room mechanically at the early levels to do anything other than those 3 things.
Yeah, and my other primary complaint is that the classes you would expect to be spellcasters, the warlock classes, because they broke like the subclasses of Destiny down into actual classes. So you're not a Titan whose subclass is Striker.
Really?
You're a Striker who has subclasses, who has their own subclasses.
Okay.
Like a Striker's a class,
All right, I
Defender's
can
a
buy
class.
that.
Yeah, I
can
mean,
buy that.
because they're very, very different.
But
But the Warlock subclasses are not spellcasters.
how
like-
are they not spellcasters?
I know! Why,
Like
Like-
the Destiny classes go very clearly into the 3 archetypes. You got tank, rogue, and caster.
Right, so you would expect, like, the Defender to be some kind of tank specialist, right?
Right.
And they're, now maybe they're not a melee class, because, as is tradition, every class has access to guns, and the gun play is, like, a major part of the system. And so they've jury-rigged, like, a gunplay system into the Destiny, into the
Now,
5th
that
edition.
I would feel most apprehensive about.
It's okay. I've play tested it a bit.
Okay.
It's really not like, because you and the enemies, since everyone is ranged, it all just kind of feels fine, because like, you can still get up close if you have like a sword heavy, right?
Right.
If you want to do that, and with your melee abilities, you can still like get into melee, but like, because everyone is ranged, it feels fine. Because now there's no, oh, well, I'm useless because everyone's ranged, but I'm a melee character. No, you're not. You're a ranged character. Everyone's a ranged
Right,
character.
you're a ranged character with a melee option.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's like that, even the enemies. So,
Right.
That it ends up being fine. Like, you're still taking the attack action. There's just less, oh, I'm about to get cornered. There's less of that, because
Yeah.
it also, includes Destiny mobility options. So you have your double jump, you have your whatnot.
Double jump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just assume that works.
Why not?
Because I'm used to, it being a tabletop game, it being on a two-dimensional plane.
There aren't many situations where you have to worry about three-dimensionality. Although that can make for interesting encounter design. And I kind of wish that regular 5th edition would use it more. Okay, that's unfair. It's not the edition. It's about DMing. How do you DM that? Because then you have to get into Pythagorean theorem to figure out ranges.
Yeah, and not just that, but then, like, if you introduce a third dimension to it, then how do you, like, rest a figure, like, 6 feet in the air?
I'll tell you, because there are solutions to that, believe it or not. There's these clear plastic stands with 5 foot square. Yeah,
Yep.
there's clear plastic stands with 5 foot squares that you can 1 inch squares that you can buy that you can stack your minis on.
5 foot squares. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But then can you put stuff into the square then?
No, it's
To represent something being under something else?
So it has like a base
Uh-huh.
that you put down so that you can see the grid underneath it. It's
Yeah.
it's clear plastic.
Yeah.
Then it has like a stack of squares and then another platform higher up, and you can put that platform atop a number of squares that you can subtract or add to.
That sounds weird.
So like you're 5 feet up, you put the base, 1 square, and then the platform,
Uh-huh.
and now your character is 1 square above ground level.
Right.
If you're 15, you add 3 squares, put the platform on, and now you're...
But what you can't do in that case is represent one character being directly underneath another character by 5 feet.
Yeah, you can, because the squares are off to the side.
I
And
think
if
I
someone-
need to see this in action.
Sure.
in order to
I'll
actually
look it up
understand
later. Oh, yes! Anna Makoto.
Yes.
Having their
To
girls' night.
bond. Yes, on special ability is indeed girl talk.
It is, now that you mention it. I forgot about that.
We've been ready for this moment since ever.
I know you don't engage in fandom, but I want you to know that a whole ship was born from this scene.
Yeah, of course. I mean, speaking of engaging, like, we...
Speaking of engaging,
we are
were you married?
very aware that this scene right here is a perfect template for an introduction to a Dojin.
Is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're all,
Heart-to-heart talk in the student council room.
Yeah, they're alone. Just, 2 girls sitting 5 feet apart.
Because they're not gay.
And, they're finally starting to warm up to each other. And what better way to warm up to each other than
Okay,
to-
that's enough of that.
You got uncomfortable with that very quickly.
I did.
Much more quickly than when we had the same conversation 2 weeks ago.
Did I? I don't know.
No, you
There's
were
no
mostly
way to
fine
tell
with it.
because the evidence was erased.
That's it. It was a
They'll
ploy
never
on your
know my
part.
secret.
Nobody can know that Matt's a filthy Yuri shipper. That's okay because I'm a filthy
Filthy?
head shipper.
Excuse you. Filthy.
Oh,
I'll
that's
have
right.
you know
I
that it's
forgot.
the
Lesbians
purest.
are the purest form of love.
Absolutely. There you
No.
go.
So remember that conversation we had literally an hour ago about how gender ideally shouldn't matter?
Yeah, this is one of those cases
You're
where
a fucking
it's okay
hypocrite.
for it to matter.
Really? Wow. Okay, well, you're invalidating us then because we, not being female, can never be lesbians and therefore can never be pure.
Look,
I don't mean together, by the way. I mean individually.
Listen, okay. First off, that denial is going to launch 1,000 ships. Oddly specific denial there, Mitch. First off, I should precede any other comments by saying that we could never be pure anyway, so...
That's not true.
And
I'm very innocent.
Okay.
compared to everybody else my age.
Oh, fine.
Yes, I win.
I'll let you win that one. Which is weird, because Mitch is like the last person and you would expect in the entire world to be that way. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like I would be a degenerate.
Yeah.
And I'm mostly not.
Mostly not. All of the effort he could have put into, like, boozing it up and doing drugs and, like...
Owning a collection of body pillows.
No, that is the thing that you used as an outlet.
I don't have a collection of body pillows, though.
Yeah, that's an oddly specific denial.
Is that the one element that I'm missing to be truly drug-free?
I just feel like if I went through the closets here...
You can do that. Like, the closets in my bedroom are just open.
I'm not going to invade your privacy like that.
The closet in the entryway just has coats in it. The closet in the hallway outside the bathroom just has, like, towels and shit.
Yeah, I'm not going to invade your privacy like that, like I said.
One of the closets in my bedroom has my guitar cases in there and a vacuum. The other one has a bunch of shirts.
Okay.
So there you go.
And a body pillow, probably.
Oh, no, and all the boxes for my figures.
Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Makoto.
You want to just ignore everything.
We stopped at this point. We're like, this is so shippy.
Yeah, I think we were also mentioning that they had, up until this point, not been referring to each other by first name at all, which is unusual for our society, but not for Japan.
Yeah, it's well, here's the thing. There are parts of our society that are like that.
Yeah.
The military, especially.
Educational system.
Educational system?
Your teachers. You'd refer to by, like...
Well, Mr. Yeah.
Mr. Black.
But I'd call any adult Mr. You know, there are people who theoretically I should be a peer of because, like, we're both adults now, but they're just so much older that I still refer to them as Mr. or whatever.
That's ageist.
Not really.
A part of it is implicitly ageist, but I don't think it matters.
The only... ageism is weird because it's so different from other forms of discrimination. My dad put up with a lot of that while he was searching for the job he currently has because my dad, I'll be clear here, my dad is insanely qualified to be a sales anything. Like, honestly, it's surprising to me that he's not... I've told him multiple times, you should just be running the entire sales division of a company at this point. He has 40 plus... He has like 40 years of experience in sales. Like 20 of those in a managerial role. They're insanely qualified. Could not find a job for almost a year. Because any company he interviewed at, they didn't want someone who was only going to be with them for, 20 to 25 years and then they'd retire. They wanted someone who's going to be with them for 40 years, ignoring the fact that people who are in their 20s looking for the same role...
That's literally your entire career.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
But here's the thing. What companies don't seem to realize is they want those young people for these roles because they think that they can get more years of work out of them without changing. But young people are way more likely to change jobs than old people.
Oh, yes.
Just so much more likely.
Yeah.
Frankly, with the stuff my dad has gone through at his current job, anyone younger than him would have left. Anyone younger than him would have already found a better job. But he was so discouraged by that search, he's been putting up for it for like a year. It's fucking ridiculous. And I will not name names. But there is a medical company called Integra that needs to get its shit together.
No. Okay. Ageism is a weird topic in the industry that I work in, being, a tech industry.
Mm-hmm.
It works both ways, strangely. There's ageism both ways. Like, for one thing, You want people that are fresh out of college because you can mold them to do things your way, the way that your company does.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like...
You don't have to bring people on and they have a bunch of habits from a different company.
Right, but at the same time, you don't want someone inexperienced because like, if you don't know what you're doing, then you're only going to bring the company down until you eventually get up to speed. And that works in a really, really strange way because the company that I'm in now, after management changed the first time, I hate that I have to qualify that.
The first time.
What they did was they stopped hiring new people into junior development roles. They didn't promote from within anymore. They just stopped all that, and they hired people directly into senior developer positions. And these people are all like in their 40s, I think. And
So here they're favoring older people even when maybe they shouldn't.
Right, because in this case, like, I had 3 years of experience working with our systems and knowing how they work. Like, sure, I'd be fine with working with someone older than me for guidance, you know, to figure out the best ways of doing things and having that level of experience in addition to me. But I would have loved to, you know, be promoted for the knowledge that I had on the company's systems and my ability to maintain them. And
ridiculous.
Like that, they just completely stopped promoting people at that point instead, which looked weird as hell to me. And now
because it's cheaper.
Yeah,
because you'll quit for another job and then they'll rehire someone.
Thing is, I wouldn't quit if they promoted me.
I know, but if you quit, they can rehire someone to fill your position and pay them less.
If they can manage to pay someone less than what they paid us when we joined...
Well, but you've had yearly raises and whatnot, right?
Yeah, a ton of those were pushed for by the people that I was initially working with before the management change.
Yeah, but what I mean is, if you quit for something better, then they can rehire someone who hasn't gotten any of those raises.
Yes.
Yeah.
But my starting pay rate at this company was like $40,000 a year. Which, you know, that's good money for fresh out of college, but when you think about it,
that's
like,
insanely good money.
We're doing programming. A programmer, even in our area, at a base level is like $60,000 at least.
Oh, so you're getting underpaid anyway.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, so if that's what I'm saying, if they manage to hire someone for less money than that, then they're fucking that person over royally.
I mean, they're already fucking you over royally, so...
I'm fucking aware.
Hey, this is the part where we were like, I wonder how the blue room works. Is it like ReZero where he can't talk about it or he dies?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that if you start to mention that there's like a man in jail in your mind, that you are also in jail, that like you will be rendered completely incapable of speech and bodily function.
I remember that... I mean, it is weird, right? That, you know, no one has questioned the app up until this point.
Right.
And here's Makoto.
We questioned the app immediately. We tried to uninstall the app and it came back.
Yeah.
Which, that's not how apps work. That shows virus.
It is how some apps work. You go and try to uninstall them and you can't because they're tied into your cell phone service.
Oh no, that's totally different from this. This is like it uninstalled. And then the next day it showed up again. With stuff that's carrier required, they actually don't let you uninstall it. They'll let you deactivate it, but not uninstall. That's the problem I've been running into with my phone space.
July 9th, red text.
Yes, that is...
I want to... Listen, there really is a way that you could come up with the 3 million yen, to be frank. And you know what it is.
Matt!
Mementos grinding.
Oh.
Let's do the... Wait, what kind... Oh, you were thinking of a different kind of grinding.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go the route of prostitution.
No, that's the way Kanashiro wanted it to go.
Yeah, I know.
I am not a villain. Well, maybe I'm a villain. Grinding in Mementos is pretty bad, too.
But not the same level of bad.
Not the same level of bad.
It'll get us to a higher level, but not a higher level of bad.
The blackmail photo does not look that bad, to be frank.
It looks really badass, like we're about to drop a beat.
About to drop the sickest beat of 2018.
Exactly.
20XX, I'm sorry, because this takes place in an unspecified year.
Oh, yeah.
But, hey...
No, but this is definitely the Phantom Thieves of Hearts about to drop the hottest album. Yeah. This is definitely that. Like,
Yo.
We are the boy band. The new NSYNC.
Yo!
Yo, check it out.
We just watched Zombieland Saga, episode 2, and
three
it
four.
broke Mitch's mind.
Yeah, no, that episode went way too fucking ridiculous. We couldn't have made that joke at the time this episode was originally recorded.
We couldn't. But now that we're here, I really
Now
want
that we're
to.
here, it's really weird. An idol performance by zombies. It makes sense in context.
No, it doesn't.
make sense in context.
No, it doesn't.
Was suddenly interrupted by themselves, and they got into a rap battle with each other.
And it was sick.
It was
There was a
actually
mic
really
drop
sick.
and everything.
I'm really interested in finding out who did the translation for that because
It rhymed in English
It rhymed in English.
as well as in Japanese.
It sometimes didn't rhyme in Japanese.
Um.
Japanese doesn't do the same rhyming schemes that we do.
Oh. Well, I mean, then it must have still rhymed in Japanese, but in a different scheme.
I don't know exactly how that works because, like, if I listen to Japanese music, there's no rhymes that I can find.
Really?
Unless
I
Excuse me.
often hear some rhymes. Like, it's... Because all you need for a Japanese rhyme, because of the way all of the sounds are formed, they all have vowels.
Yeah.
So you just have to match one vowel. It's easy, actually.
Well, right, but it's easy to do it that way, but that is... I don't think that our method of rhyming is part of Japanese culture, because their language isn't built in a way in which that is clever.
I would like to... I would
like
like to
3.
hear the Japanese audio only of that scene.
Okay.
Just to hear...
We'll rewatch it and you can cover your eyes. And just look away from the traffic accident that's happening on screen.
It was not a traffic accident. It was glorious. I'm
Okay.
sorry, okay?
That scene was
may have-
so fucking weird. It was a traffic accident, but like it was a Burnout 3 traffic accident, one that you caused and wanted to happen and are getting a ton of points from.
Exactly. There you go. There you go. Exactly. That's such a good description.
Is
It's
it?
such a good description. Yes.
Oh man.
God, I remember Crash Mode and Burnout.
Really?
That was so much fun.
I didn't remember that you played those.
Only ever with you guys, but the Crash Mode was so much fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because it's just like, yeah, just cause as much damage as possible, and here's some really pretty graphics to go along with the destruction.
Yeah, exactly. It was in Burnout 3 Takedown. It was just really, really well done for that mode. They had it in the game before that as well, but it was a lot more bare bones. It was pretty much just drive into traffic, see what happens. But then in Takedown they added the after something.
After Burnout?
I don't remember what the name
Oh,
of it was.
it was where you crash, you could still control the car.
Yeah, Crash Breaker. That's what it was. And
You
you
were
could
using
like explode your car again and like
If you got
steer it
enough points.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the air. It was just really cool, and they had like multipliers and all that.
God,
Yeah,
Ryuji.
no.
Yeah, I know, it's so oddly specific. Do you have a thing for shoulder pads, Ryuji?
No.
You like pantsuits?
If he did, he would love World of Warcraft because they have those massive pauldrons. Right. Wrong franchise, Yusuke. I didn't realize how deadpan she delivers that line.
I'm not a mastermind, though. Next.
Next. She's
Won't you give me something better to work with?
very demanding.
She reminds me of an empress.
Which
Step on me,
Morgana likes.
Makoto.
Yeah. She
To
could
be
step
frank-
on him. He's short.
Yeah, to be frank, Morgana's like this all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Morgana is so...
I think Witch would have honestly been the best one, though.
I think we discussed that, and I actually said that witch is generally considered a derogatory term.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, it sounds cool. And now, that being said, it doesn't really fit her theming.
No, it doesn't. I mean, when do you call a biker a witch?
No, I don't disagree. I just mean, that would be a really cool code name for someone.
Right. Witch? I can see that. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
I don't know who. Maybe
It's a nice ring to it.
we need to make an OC that would have the codename Witch.
No.
You don't want to make a Persona 5 OC?
Nah.
Now,
Really?
could you explain to me the
Nah.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay.
I mean, I can't draw, so I can't really do a character design, but I'll make an OC. Fuck it.
OC Phantom Thief.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really worried now, because now it's like, am I going to do that?
Are you going to do that? You tell
Probably
me, man.
not. I sort of am interested in seeing what I would come up with, though. But now's not the time for me to start really thinking about it.
You don't have one?
I don't really ever come up with OCs except for like D&D characters.
Really?
I consider D&D characters OCs, to be honest. They're not just vehicles for me to play the game. They're characters. So
Right. They're sort of fantasy kitchen sink OCs, and that's fine.
I prefer to make mine feel less like fantasy kitchen sink ones, which is why I prefer a bit more setting detail.
Right. Like when you were talking about whatever setting it was when we were playing Dark Souls that you said had like all the magic sucked out of it.
Dark Sun,
Dark Sun. I knew there was sun somewhere in it.
Desert Wasteland D&D,
Yeah.
where
like-
magic drains the land of energy.
Like that's very much more conducive to unique original characters because it's a setting where
You
if
have
you look
to-
at any aspect of it, you can design a character from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like even if it's just the vaguest thing like, what sort of religious temples exist at this land. Like, sure, a priest there. That's
Yeah.
my character.
Yeah, honestly, like that's my feeling toward the vast majority of that's my feeling about settings in general. That's why I don't like the Forgotten Realms, because of their kitchen sinkedness. Even I'll say that parts of Faerun don't suffer from the same problem. The new Dragon Heist module focuses on the city of Waterdeep, and because it goes in depth on how the city of Waterdeep works, like it's a real setting with meat to it that you can like create a not kitchen sink character from.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like you can still be any race, but like there's a lot more hooks to create a character out of.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes when I see people create D&D characters, they're often just like, yeah, they're from some tribe somewhere.
Right, exactly.
This is a barbarian. There's some orc tribe somewhere. They're from that.
Yeah, nobody really like fleshes it out in a way that makes it more believable and gives them story hooks, but that's because like the books don't really give you enough information about the setting in order to really make an informed decision about that, about who they are, where they're from. You just want like, here's a character with these qualities.
Yeah.
But I will say one of the books that you bought for me before, the 3.0 Forgotten Realms book,
Which one was that?
the one with like the tan cover and the big symbol inscribed on the front of it.
That's all 3.5 books. I'm sorry.
What?
That's all 3.5 books.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't have any 3.5 books unless that one's 3.5. But wait, did I
You said 3.5. Was it a
did I
fourth
sell that one
edition?
to Zach? I might have sold that one to Zach, but
Was it a fourth edition?
no, it was third edition.
Okay.
It was third edition.
I don't think the only third edition books I have are from Charles. I never gave you one, as far as I know.
Oh right, you bought my fourth edition books off of me, right? No.
I bought the
You had 'em.
3.5 edition books off of Charles. This is now a friend discussion. We're no
Yeah,
longer talking about the
what
game.
What the fuck is going on?
He wants.
This
This
okay.
is
I'm gonna look for this book
Okay.
on the interwebs.
I'm going to
show
talk
you
about
the
how
cover.
these two lollies are clearly masochists.
I thought you were gonna say are clearly masturbating. I thought, so there, this one on the left here.
Oh, the Forgotten Realms setting guide. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That I'll put a picture of that up on the screen, but yeah, that one actually was much better than like the regular handbooks about giving you hooks for a character.
In the Forgotten Realms. Yeah, I guess the Forgotten Realms isn't bad once you zoom in, but from a large scale, there's
Yeah.
so much to it that it's almost impossible to have anything that feels unique about a character, because the world's so big and so very, very kitchen sinky
Yeah.
that like it feels like, okay, but 10 more of these could exist.
Yeah. And I've got to say for that reason in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, it was actually it's in any edition of Dungeons and Dragons, but most of my experience with making characters that I care about is in 5th. It's always a blessing when one of your characters ends up being like actually really well fleshed out and beloved, even if you didn't intend them that way. Because I know that my bard in our Zendikar campaign is not that, but in another campaign I made a Minotaur Warlock for 5th edition.
Oh, really? That
Yeah.
actually sounds really cool.
That's actually the brother of another character who is playing, who is a Minotaur. What was it? I want to say fighter, but I think I'm wrong. I really don't remember what they were. But it was just really good to have the interplay between the two brothers because my character hates his character, but his character absolutely loves my character. And what we ended
Do
up
I
with,
know about this character? Was I
No.
there for this?
No, this is
Sounds like
something
a
I did
dynamic
online.
I know of.
This is something I did online,
Oh, okay.
and I haven't done any D&D online involving you. But like my character's patron thing for its warlock abilities was Nyarlathotep from Lovecraft.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from the Cthulhu mythos. And,
So the which one is that? That's the
that's the dude who like
no, I mean the warlock subclass. That's the the old
Pact
one.
of the
The old one, right?
the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's a lot of fun.
I talked it over with the DM, and we were just sort of like spitballing things, and I ended up saying like, oh yeah, when my character levels up, he like dreams and is gifted something from Nyarlathotep. And that's how he gets his new spells.
Nice.
And the DM was just like, that's super fucking cool. And like that actually ended up tying into the plot somehow, because I guess just what this person had prepared just happened to have a space for that to fit in. And
I'm willing to bet he thought it was cool enough that he made space.
that's totally possible.
Most DMs do
I like
that.
to pretend that I'm not that important.
Listen,
Because I'm not that important.
no, DMs love their players, and if you give a DM fuel, you can bet dollars to donuts that they're going to run with it, because
Yeah.
there is nothing better feeling than having a character feel invested.
Yeah, true.
Which is why I tried to work in your character's one external bond
Right.
in the last session.
Yeah.
Because I wanted you to feel a little more invested in getting the assassins.
Yeah, thank you for doing that, by the way. Because, like, when I made this character for the Zendikar campaign, I really didn't...
Oh, I know. It's okay.
I didn't even think that we would continue that campaign for more than a level, to be honest.
Yeah, it was always... Honestly, the whole thing of rotating DMs seemed like a weird idea, but in the end it ended up giving each DM enough breather time to come up with good ideas for their next thing.
I actually saw it the opposite way. I thought that, like, early on it sounded like a good idea to have rotating DMs, and then as we went on it was like, it's actually really hard to get everyone coordinated and make sure that all the lore is consistent and all that.
Well, I mean, you don't see 90% of that work. It's mostly me, Zach, and Charles
Well,
talking.
right, but Zach tells me after the fact about, like, what went into preparing certain things and making
Oh,
them...
I wish he wouldn't.
Well,
There's supposed to be a level of mystique to the DM's craft. There's supposed to be a certain level of...
Matt, I've DM'd before.
I know.
So Zach likes talking with me about DMing because I have perspectives that he cares about.
I just mean when it comes to telling your players about what you're doing.
Oh, right, but he waits until after the session, after when it matters has already passed.
Okay.
So it doesn't ruin any surprise or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I can really have much surprise for a game in which most of our sessions are independent of one another up until recently.
I think we've been doing a good job.
I need to get water. What are you doing?
Should I don't know. Should I
just keep
continue to talk?
talking.
Okay, I'm continuing
I'm
to
still
talk.
going to be audible.
All the way from the kitchen?
Yes.
Apparently he's going to be audible all the way from the kitchen.
Yes, Matt. I've edited videos before where you went to the kitchen and got water, and it was fine. I needed to drench my gullet.
I think
That's
that
not the right phrase.
I think that a desire to have characters that feel unique and like you have more meat to craft a backstory from is part of the reason why I'm really interested in making my own world finally.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, just because it gives me a chance to craft the pieces that people can build their stories from, and I'm really, like, I'd be really interested to see what people make of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a DM, having your own setting gives you a lot more room to have your setting grow into the story.
Yes.
Really.
The other thing that I think I find attractive about it is that if the setting
What
is
a
entirely mine,
sexy setting.
that sexy setting, it's entirely mine,
Yeah.
then less prep work has to go into each consecutive session,
Yeah.
because rather than trying to make sure I know the material as in a pre-existing one, or trying to come up with ways to integrate the next or upcoming person's sessions, every session is always my own.
Yeah.
Fully. Like, I remember I also ran a game that I think I ended up railroading too hard. That was kind of homebrew, but it was based on a setting by someone else.
Uh-huh.
And I remember that was always a lot of... And that one we actually managed to do weekly, which is something I don't think we were ever able to do again. But it was hard each week to come up with ideas for the next session, not necessarily because I was imagination starved, but just because I didn't want to... Like, I wanted the campaign to progress a certain way, so, like, I didn't always know how best to move from point A to point B. And because I wanted to keep it within the setting, and if you guys went somewhere I didn't expect, I didn't have anything prepared for that area.
Right.
But if it's entirely my own setting, I know if you're in this town and you head west, you're going to hit this, you know?
Right.
And so I already know what's going on in this. So now I'm prepared for anything, you know, if
Yep.
you go anywhere.
And I'll say, when I was doing that roll for shoes session that one time,
Yes.
that was partly on the spot, but also the first time that I ran it with the group online was partly on the spot as well. I came up with, like, that morning the idea of what I wanted to do with it and where I wanted them to go, what the plot was going to be like, but then, like, you know, we got online on Discord and started, you know, just chatting and rolling dice, and it just sort of went wherever it went. Like, I had ideas for things that I wanted to do. I had plot hooks for them that they chose to ignore. I had other things that they picked up on that I didn't care about at all, and ended up using that instead to take them on the route that they chose. And then when I did it with you guys, your time in the starting town was much longer than what the first group did.
You know,
you
that's
guys
the fear.
added a whole river.
You know, did we roll for there to be a river?
No, I came up with it on the spot because someone asked about the nearest source of water. And I was just like, there's a river running through the town.
Yeah.
And that was
Is
not
there?
there at
There
all.
is-
There was
there is
not.
now.
Yeah, no, that was not there at all in the first playthrough of it. But that's another one of the glorious things about just having your own setting too, is that even if you don't have everything down to the minute detail, if something comes up that you need something to work with, you can just put it in. The NPCs can just sort of happen into the world. You don't need to prepare every little detail. you don't.
Behold. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You don't like
A person.
bowling ball a person into the setting, but
Oh, I'll absolutely do that. And then a gigantic armadillo
a very
man comes
rotund
rolling
man
down
rolls
the
into
street.
you all. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's all really good stuff, though. It feels great to just be able to let loose with it and not worry about getting all of the details right, as long as you're consistent with what you've already said. That's the only thing.
The other really, really good feeling of it is especially getting to put a spin that you came up with on the races and cultures of the world. A lot of D&D, I find the elves feel very much just like people, like normal people.
Right.
They don't ever feel like elves. Now, some of that's down to role-playing, but I often think, well, maybe it's just that the person doesn't have anything to role-play off of, because it's an elf.
Yeah.
What about the elf? What town? Who cares?
Elves are so standard in fantasy worlds now that they don't even matter.
Right, so how do you make them matter, you know?
Yep.
And my answer to that in my homebrew world is just make them, like, really separate. Don't, like, if you travel to human kingdoms, you're not going to find an elf.
Right.
Like, at all.
I see.
They live either far to the south or far to the west.
To the right.
They live either in the woods beyond, like, a big river that no one ever crosses, or they live far across the Dwarven Mountains in, like, the grasslands or the steppes,
They are isolated.
or on an island chain. But yeah.
But if you go to just any old town, you can't really expect to find an elf there because they isolate themselves.
Right, and so a PC playing an elven character in the game, if you're playing in the human kingdoms, that's going to actually stand out to people. It's also going to inform some kind of role-playing, because the elf will be out of their element. They'll be like, ooh, human culture, what's this? Or
There'll be a thing of like, okay, what are you doing here?
Or at least the player will have the opportunity to roleplay that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you trying to do there?
I'm trying to fuse. But I don't have the components for it.
You know,
I forgot that square was the button to actually inspect the persona instead of trying to fuse it and then not being able to.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm nearly level 100 in my playthrough.
I thought you were level 120. Or no, it was 120 hours. That's
yeah, it's
what it was.
120 hours. I'm nearly level 100 in my playthrough. I've never done a triple fusion a single time.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I've
It's
always
just
got my eye on it, but...
It's just too hard to happenstantially have the 3 parts, and I
Yeah.
never like planned to like go grab the parts just to do the fusion.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really curious about that because some of these fusions, like, even just their components I know are just other fused personas, but, like, if you haven't done that fusion, then you won't know it.
Yeah. So you basically have to look up a guide on the internet.
Yeah. Or just actually spend the time experimenting in your own playthroughs, but you don't want to.
No, don't do that.
Or what you could do is actually look at the summon screen, the fuse screen, for just the 2-person summons, and just write down which ones form which in like an Excel sheet and use that.
Oh god.
Because that you can filter by certain things. So you can say like, okay, if I want this persona, what goes into it?
So much work for something you could just Google. But you know what?
In the old days, that's what we did. Let me tell you.
Okay, no, you don't have to.
Let me tell you about Wizardry.
Oh no.
No.
Wizardry.
This
What?
was a wonderful PC game.
I think I have heard of this.
It didn't have that system necessarily, but what it has is like it has a dungeon that's like the main thing in the game, and that dungeon has several layers on it, and I don't think it's the kind of dungeon that like regenerates itself every time you enter, but it does with every new game you start.
Okay.
But there's no way of knowing what you're gonna get, and there wasn't a whole lot of internet back then, and
it's a
none of the maps
roguelike.
were like predetermined anyway.
So it's like a roguelike.
Yeah, it basically was. There was permadeath, so yeah, it was a roguelike. But you actually had to take grid paper and map out the dungeon to figure out what the layout of it was, where you'd been.
Wait, why? Because it was text-based or something?
No,
It didn't display?
there's no map.
Oh, so you had to do a grid paper to make sure you knew what the layout was
Yeah,
like.
just so you didn't
because-
get lost. There was
I
an
gotcha.
actual cartography aspect to the game.
Huh, that's pretty cool.
Yes, it was really cool, and gaming in general has backed off on that because it just doesn't really work in the modern era. The closest thing we get to that game now is Etrian Odyssey, which I have one of the games for on the 3DS.
Never played that.
It's the same style of game. It's fantasy races and classes in a dungeon, but they actually give you like a map in game. But it's not like you uncover the map as you progress. It's you have to actually draw the map in game.
You have to draw the map in game.
Yep, and
Like
you have to
MS
indicate
Paint?
where things are that you want to remember.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Like MS Paint? What?
No, they have a grid.
Okay.
You just draw like where the walls are and like where the chests are, the entrances, all that. It's very close in spirit to what Wizardry was like.
Oh wow.
So
Well, I mean that
if
makes
you want
sense.
a more modern take on that kind of game, please check out Etrian Odyssey.
This episode on games you might not have tried.
I
That
want
is
to
interesting.
suggest that we should have an episode like that. That's just games you might not have tried. But honestly, I know that you would take over that episode because you experiment with games so much more than I do. A lot of my games that are like out there are older games, like Battle Hunter and Concept are my two go-tos for that.
I have to say, I'm surprised that you have that opinion of me because I didn't really have it about myself. What? Why is it that you think I experiment with games more? Do you mean I just like get more games?
Yes.
Because like get and play through more games?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't really have the time for that.
It's so surprising because you work a 9 to 5.
Yeah, but I also edit all these videos. I work on music.
Oh well, I mean,
The
okay.
games that I do play require more time investment, so I don't jump around from game to game as much.
I mean, the games I play require a lot of time investment too. I'm just shitty
play an
about
MMO.
it. I'm just shitty about it. Like
I know,
I
I
need
can't
you
do
to
that
know
these days.
I've never finished Fallout 3. I've never finished Fallout 4.
I've never played Fallout 3. Fallout 4 I got disinterested in within an hour.
It's unfortunate.
I knew you'd say that.
No, not that you spent $60 on something you only played for an hour.
Oh no, I got it for Christmas.
Oh, cool, good.
So my family spent $60
There you go.
on a game I didn't care about. Which is really unfortunate, because that's the same company that made Elder Scrolls, which... It's Bethesda, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
And I loved Oblivion. I loved Skyrim. I had a healthy like of Morrowind. I was too young to really care about it as much as I should have. But then, Fallout 4 just did not grip me.
there's probably a very good reason for that. You should watch the Joseph Anderson critique of Fallout 4.
I always have trouble wanting to watch the critiques of the games that I haven't actually played enough of to form my own opinion on them. Because my opinion of Fallout 4 is just that I didn't care.
Oh, okay. My opinion of it was basically, why is there no role playing? None of these missions have any kind of alternate options for progression or anything. Why are there no skill checks?
Yeah.
Are you telling me that this is just supposed to be a shooter? Oh, you are. I didn't sign up for that. So
Right. There are no shopkeeps for a mercantilism skill. At least,
There-
matter.
I mean, there are. They're just not until... Wait. Are there? Aren't there? There's merchants on the road, right?
Hell if I know.
I think there are.
I told you I only played an hour of it.
Yeah, no.
Maybe 2 hours at most. But
No, there are merchants.
Like-
But that's not really the point. I mean, it's more like there's no... in Elder Scrolls, you'd have really interesting quests. Remember the ring at the bottom of the well that
yes.
almost drowned you because it would increase your weight when you picked it up?
Yeah, I didn't
There's-
get that ring, but I know the story.
Yeah, there's nothing creative like
Ascended
that.
feline.
There's nothing creative like that in Fallout 4.
Right. It more feels like they just
Had
made
every
a
employee.
world for you to go around and then dropped plot into it. and said that's enough.
Yeah, and then they'll write just enough. But the difference between like a Fallout 4, which fills its world full of plot, or that fills its world full of quests that are one shot and quick, and The Witcher, which does something similar, it's really just the writing quality.
Yeah.
Because in The Witcher, even small side quests will have really interesting writing and sometimes have like choices concerning how the quest plays out, because it's an RPG and the point is to like, you know, make decisions that impact the game, even if it's not like, oh, every decision matters. Like there will be I'm saying like a lot and I'm starting to use it again as a filler word and I need to stop. I need to either just pause or say or something, but I'm starting to annoy myself at this point. It's really bad. You need to tell me when I'm doing that.
I didn't notice.
Really? I notice every time I listen to a video, whenever I start doing the like thing.
You're your biggest critic.
I mean, that's true of a lot of things. Isn't this where you tried to... Oh, you tried to sweet
I'm
talk
trying
them.
to recruit them to my side, but
You were having
no
a really
idea.
hard time of it.
Yeah, I have no idea how to talk to this person, and they ended up just giving me an item. And I think that actually happens with the next group of enemies, too.
Yeah, you were having a hard time with all of them.
Yeah, I was having a bad time with this dungeon.
Bad
So,
day.
yeah, they just give me a thing and then retreat, and that's not what I wanted.
Oh, no.
So, there you go. I didn't get fucking anything that I wanted from that fight.
Poor Mitch.
Poor me. So yeah, it was really cool to see like all these new enemy types in here. That's always a good feeling in any game, and I think more so in these collectathon type games. Like, collectathon isn't the right term, but these the Pokemon type, what any enemies that you encounter you can recruit, essentially. Because like in RPGs, typically seeing a new enemy type scares me because I have no idea what they're capable of or what they're weak to, what they're strong against, what they're going to do to me. So like in Final Fantasy, new enemy types are scary. But in this, because I can recruit them, I want to find out what they're weak to and get them to a point where I can recruit them and have their powers on my side. It is a very nice twist on the RPG theme.
I wish there was a way to do that still left a kind of fear of what they could do to you the first time, though.
That fear is still there, but much more downplayed. Because it's definitely true that at any time you could just have like the wrong party setup and get annihilated by someone.
You could also be underleveled and get annihilated, like what happens here.
Matt! I was trying to strongly hint! Damn it.
I'm sorry.
You ruined
Were
the
you
fucking
trying to-
surprise of the episode.
The surprise of the episode that things go poorly.
Yes. Yeah, people are just supposed to think that this is a normal run through a dungeon. And I'm just, having a hard time trying to recruit the enemies to my side. You gotta work on your subtlety, man.
I didn't know you were going for that.
Right. Because I couldn't outright say it because we were already recording.
You gotta like text me next time.
Or maybe I could
Be like, Matt,
drop
hey,
hints and let you pick up on them.
Oh, man, what an idea. That'd be something, wouldn't it? I bet you'd really like that, Mitch.
Oh, man.
What a novelty.
I'm sorry, though. I sound like an ass guilting you about that. I apologize. You don't need to feel bad. I'm just superior, that's all.
Okay, that's fair. No, it's not.
No, it's
Dick.
really not. No. If either of us is superior, it's neither of us.
We are the least fancy. Surely that means there's someone out there who's the most fancy.
It means that everyone else out there is more fancy than us. But it also means that we are both the least fancy. We are equal levels of unfancy.
Zero fancy.
Or possibly negative if need be, in
I
order
was-
to maintain being the least.
I was positing that we might have a rival out there.
A rival.
The most
for-
fancy.
Oh, the most fancy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Our evil twins.
what games do they play, Matt?
I don't know, but they're probably rich and voted for Trump.
I'm just gonna let that sit there. Check out this furry.
Hey, look, we're beating up the furry, just like we really would.
Matt.
Yes, Mitch.
Matt.
Yes.
You remember how we were talking 2 hours ago about prejudices?
I'm gonna... No. Listen up. Listen up, furries.
No, Matt, no, stop. Do not
I'm sorry, should I not antagonize the Anthros?
entire groups of people? No, you shouldn't.
There is a huge
Last time someone did that, they became president, Matt.
Oh, God. Jesus.
That's like the new Godwin's Law.
Godwin's Law?
Godwin's Law being in any typical Usenet discussion, which was like an old chat client.
I know what using is.
Okay. The conversation, any conversation will inevitably degenerate to someone making a comparison to Adolf Hitler.
Okay.
And Trump is the new that.
Oh, man.
At least among our Democratic-leaning group.
Just weird that I've managed to make that many Democratic friends. This is a very Republican-leaning area.
Is it?
Yes, incredibly.
Really?
Randy Holgren has been the 14th
Who?
district's... the 14th... He's our congressman. I mean,
Oh.
maybe not yours anymore. When you lived in Batavia, he was. But he's been our... He's run uncontested in the last 4 elections he's been in.
Oh.
And it's just gotten the seat. Because there's been no Democratic candidate to run against him.
Huh.
Yeah, and, you know, the one that's running now is barely neck and neck with him. Which, barely neck and neck with him after all these last 2 years.
Yeah.
So, that should tell you how Republican the area is. It's because
Okay, I had no idea about that.
we're very rural. A lot of farms. A lot of low density, low population areas. I think the Aurora is cut out of the 14th, which is why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like carved out, which is weird. Like the central downtown
gerrymandering.
area of Aurora is carved out of the 14th.
Gerrymandering.
Yeah,
Don't
fun
you
stuff.
love it?
Should put a link to CGP Gray's videos on gerrymandering
I
here.
have no idea what you're talking about, so
Okay,
don't think that's gonna happen.
that's too bad. They're really good videos. He's very entertaining. He's the stick figure guy. You know who CGP Grey is. He did a bunch of things like
Stick figure guy? The
Not-
only stick figure guy I
not
know of
minute-
is the author of XKCD.
oh yeah, that. I haven't read that in forever. Is he still making this?
Yeah, it is.
Really?
Yeah, there
Man.
are, like, I think tens of thousands of comics now.
I know. Is that like his day job or something?
It must be. I mean,
Well, you must have a Patreon.
I have no idea. I don't usually think about that kind of thing, because,
I think that's the first time I've ever seen the critical punch actually crit.
no, the first time we used it crit.
Oh.
The first time ever that we used it got
Whenever I
crit.
use it in my playthrough, I never use it in my playthrough because it never crits in my playthrough.
I have the luck. Also, you don't get into situations where you're relying on it in order to not die. I hope.
Did I ever get you to do Show Me the Money?
You did, and I think that Show Me the Money dialogue option was only for this area, but we did have before the option to extort them for money and then do it again and again and again.
So great.
I think we got to do that like 4 times on one enemy, and then they said no and attacked me again.
And then you killed them and got even more money.
Yes,
It was so great.
it was really great, and you have also said before that you wished that you had that in your own playthrough.
I know.
Because-
it's basically why I haven't finished my playthrough of Persona 5.
It's basically
it's
free
like,
money if you
'cause-
don't need levels.
Because every time I go into the game, I'm like, oh, but I don't have this ability. That would... and I can't dedicate time to getting it because I already have to raise my charm to 5 or something to
Right.
get the Makoto to 10.
Yeah, and you're already, what, like 5 dungeons into the game at least?
I'm approaching what I believe must be the end game.
I hope you're right. Just because this game deserves to end at some point. You've put so much time into it.
I know that there's a time skip somewhere and it doesn't force you to live through the entire year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that would take way too long. Like, think of the game and how long it's taking. We are only 2 months in.
It has
after
skipped
3
no days thus far in our playthrough.
Yeah, but we're 2 months in at this point, and we're 3 palaces in.
I know, so I was expecting that everything would take place over the course of like 6 months.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, I mean, it's almost that. It's not, you don't live out the 12 months. No, it's 1 full year, but there's a time skip.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to say
no.
where or when or what the context is, but there's a time skip.
Okay.
So it's not the full 12-month cycle.
Alright, that I did not know.
Yeah.
Blammo! Rip off the security guard's mask.
You know, because despite how much I wish there was more of this game, even though there's already so much of it.
And here is
That's just-
Digimon from Digimon.
Oh, you're right. I just was thinking about Digimon the other day.
Why?
I don't actually know why. I think I just had a dream about it or something. Oh, no, wait, I remember. I was watching a video about old school English dub OPs.
Oh, okay.
Like,
That was Mother's Basement, right?
yeah, did you watch that video too?
Nope.
Okay, you should.
I should have, but I saw it on my recommended list.
It's
I
a
didn't
good
have
it's a
time.
good video,
Okay.
but it reminded me of all those old ones. Like he played a clip from I think I even talked about this actually. Do you remember Shaman King?
Yeah, I don't remember Shaman King very well.
Oh, I don't remember anything about the show, but I remember the OP.
I swear we talked about Shaman King like last week.
It might. I don't know if it was last week or actually during this playthrough. Oh no! At this point in the playthrough, we were getting.
No, it was during Dark Souls that we were talking about Shaman King while you were fighting the old ancient dragon guy.
Ah, that's right.
So we had that discussion. Don't worry.
But I also remember things like Hamtaro.
Oh man.
Oh man.
I forgot about the existence of Hamtaro.
But also Digimon.
Yeah. Digimon, I will say, influenced my taste in music as a youngster pretty greatly because the movie
Really?
soundtrack had a whole bunch of licensed songs.
Oh, really?
Like,
That's cool.
Stuff from Less Than Jake, Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, the impression that I get, which is like the best ska song in my opinion. I've never liked a ska song as much as I've liked that one.
I haven't listened to much ska, so I'll take your word for it.
Okay, that actually surprises me because your interest in music is closer to ska than my interest in music.
I mean, I've listened to Jason Mraz and
Jason Mraz does not ska.
I no, but he's closer to it than stuff you listen to.
Huh. That's really funny considering that I have a great, like, Best of Goldfinger album. And
Best of
Goldfinger isn't
Goldfinger.
like straight up ska, but they're punk and they have ska elements on some of their albums.
Streetlight Manifesto is ska punk.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
I have a whole album by them.
I'm trying to think what else I listen to that could be considered ska, and the answer is nothing.
I will say Streetlight Manifesto. I like 2 or 3 of their songs, just a lot. And then I don't like a lot of their songs. I'm gonna be honest. Like, there's always this kind of element to punk where it's like kind of everything's a little subpar, and that's like a feature.
Right, that's the aesthetic. So
That's because that's the aesthetic. But the singer in Streetlight Manifesto is, I'm gonna be frank, not good. He's not a very good singer at all.
I believe that. I mean, have you listened to, like, what, Rancid, I think it is?
The best parts of those songs are the harmonies.
Yeah. That tends to be the thing with punk rock. Like, at the same time that they have this feature of wanting to sound like raw and gritty and like not overproduced corporate garbage because that's what they're acting out against.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a very strong sense of melody in the songs.
Because
which-
it's what carries the rawness.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, you just descend into noisecore.
Yeah, and it just turns out really weird.
Well-
This point in the playthrough is when we had to stop because like your dad was looking for HDMI cables or something.
And then they figured it out upstairs and like, Dad, it's fine,
Yeah,
it's fine.
yeah. So we were dealing with that, but yeah, that is a really weird thing about punk rock in general, and I think that's why when I listen to punk rock, I like the bands that I do, is because like even though it's not pop punk.
Mm-hmm.
Like they still
It's
have the
smooth.
melody, but they also have like the heaviness that's influenced from thrash metal.
Mm-hmm.
But also the singer is capable.
Yeah, and I'll say some of my favorite. Actually, I think the only Fall Out Boy you ever liked was the one where they tried to be more punk in just those 1.5-minute songs.
Yeah, I have not listened to. Was the name of it like Under the Cork Tree or something like that?
You haven't listened to any of it? That's
No.
a little odd.
I've listened to like a song or two from it,
Probably just the hits, though, right?
probably.
Oh.
But like that's the thing, I'm not familiar enough with Fall Out Boy, and I know that I would like their older stuff, but I just haven't listened to it. Yeah, I should just take a day to go listen to all these things that like I know I would like and haven't listened to yet.
My like of that band is unusual, I will say, because
Because nobody likes that band.
no, shut up.
I'm wrong, by the way. I'm wrong.
Yeah, I know. I went to a concert that's very deterministically proved that there were very many fans. Okay, there's always just the subjective thing to music. But for Fall Out Boy, for me, it's very subjective because I don't know how to say this, but basically every one of their songs to me just sounds perfect. And it sounds exactly the way it should and exactly the way I want it to.
That is such a fanboy thing to say.
I that's all I can tell you. That's like the reason I like them. It's just when I went to listen to them for the first time, I listened to all the songs and I'm just like, well, that's exactly what I wanted out of this song and exactly what I wanted to hear and exactly, it rocked exactly the right amount that I wanted it to. And that's a purely subjective thing, but it's what made them my favorite band is just because it fit what I wanted so perfectly.
That is honestly really weird for me to hear because I have never felt that way about anything that I've liked.
Really?
Like, if I like something even a lot, like, Coheed and Cambria, right? I love that band, but I can identify why I love them. Like, there's no release by Coheed and Cambria that I can think about in my mind and say, like, this was perfect.
Well,
or this was exactly what I wanted out of the band.
yeah, I mean, maybe that's weird, but but for me, like, I think there's at least one example of that for me in every medium. Like, there's a thing that I'll like just so much, and I can't, like, it probably has flaws. If someone could critique it, and I'd probably maybe agree with some points. I'm like, yeah, sure, song's still perfect for me. I don't have a better way to describe it. It just does exactly the thing I want it to do, and is just absolutely perfect at it for me. And you've never felt that way about anything?
I never have. Even thinking back to like when I was really big on Halo and Guitar Hero, I still was like cognizant of the flaws in it and knew that were I to have it entirely my way, it wouldn't be what it is.
Huh, really?
Yeah. Like, even Halo 3, I loved Halo 3, but I felt like in the campaign there were some times when it just felt like it was doing nothing for a little bit, and then eventually the plot picked up again and things were fine. I'm specifically thinking of that level where you're like going around trying to find the like entry point for the Ark or something like that, and there are like all these brutes chasing you on like the
the vehicle section.
Yeah.
After you warp in to the Ark.
I
Shipmaster.
think so.
They outnumber us
Like,
3-1.
Everything in those couple of levels of the game is very slow paced compared to the rest of it. And there are times when you do have to like backtrack, and that if you somehow lose your vehicle, then you have to walk until you find another vehicle, and those areas don't feel fun to me. And that's exactly why I'm saying that I've never felt that way about something, because Halo 3 is probably the game that I have put the second most time into out of any game.
I mean, I think there's a difference between what I'm saying I'm feeling and anyone having a favorite thing.
Right.
Like, I think my favorite
I've-
things are perfect for me, but maybe that's just a function of my personality, that I'm capable of having these things that are perfect
Maybe
just
that
to me.
is.
I don't expect that that's a feeling that everyone can relate to. And I don't, so you probably have, like, a favorite thing, right? But, maybe you just don't have a perfect thing. And that's fine. I don't think that's a thing that everyone necessarily has. This is a really long pause. What are we doing
really
here?
Is. We must have been doing something. We might have decided to just have, like, another bathroom break or something. Maybe my perfect thing was Madoka.
You do like it enough.
I do, but that's really weird to say, because in the realm of like Japanese things that I like, for some reason I can't get myself away from Toho, but I don't feel like Toho was perfect for me. Madoka is what I feel that way about, but I'm not so big of a fan of Madoka that I have like literally anything from it purchased.
Oh, there we go.
I've never bought Madoka merch or anything, or like a DVD or anything like that, and it just strikes me as weird that if something is that perfect for me, like
Why
then,
don't you
then
have more
why
of
am I
it?
not a bigger fan of it?
I mean, some people just aren't as fanboy as other things. Like, you may get annoyed by how much I talk about Fall Out Boy because I like it so much, but have you noticed I own, like, one concert shirt from them, and I've been to, like, 2 of their concerts ever, and I don't own any of their physical merch or anything like that, aside from that one shirt.
I actually had not noticed that.
I don't own any, like, Fall Out Boy merch, or, like, it's just not, like, a aesthetic choice that I make. and I don't think that purchasing necessarily, is indicative of fanboyism. So, I wouldn't say that just because you don't own anything Madoka related doesn't necessarily mean. So you really like Madoka, huh?
Yeah, of course.
I really like Madoka too. It was just a little too much of a downer.
Let's
for
date.
Me. I'm already making a weekly recording with you. What more do you want, Mitch? There's only so much I can give.
I want to upload this as a Pornhub associate.
Why not?
I don't know what the actual term is for that.
What are the requirements of being a Pornhub associate, Mitch?
I don't know.
Because we could probably do that.
idea.
Let's upload our Let's Plays on Pornhub. Let's do that. We'll be the most watched Let's Players on Pornhub.
And we'll be the least fancy.
Yeah.
I should have waited a few minutes. That would have been perfect to sign off with. But yeah, no.
I don't know,
So-
Mitch. That's pretty subjective.
The thing for me is that like my appearance is generally something that reflects the things that I like. Like I've always worn T-shirts of bands that I like or video games that I like or something like that. And in fact, what I'm wearing right now
Is a Toho shirt.
is a Toho shirt.
I'll get you a Madoka Magica.
Undies.
No, I'll get you merch for Christmas.
You don't have to. I don't even know what I'd want.
I'm gonna get you like a keychain with
I ain't replacing Astolfo.
God damn it.
I've actually decided that if I do get more anime keychains, I'm just gonna start adorning my backpack with them. Jam baby!
We freaked out here. Remember we were like shouting?
Yes.
Like, get it! Get it!
My voice is starting to die right now, so I can't shout. I've been talking with you too much today. Because we've been hanging out since 2:30 today, and it is now 9:16.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been talking with you near constantly this whole time. It's amazing that we still have all this material to talk about, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just strikes me as weird that I don't, like, something that I love to that degree, I don't.
You don't know anything of.
Right. Like, and it's not even, like, my favorite thing. It's my favorite anime, sure, but I don't, like, hold it on a pedestal.
Mm. Part of why I keep pressuring you to read those books is because I think
Lies of Lamora?
it's like my
That book?
I'll hold short of saying it's my perfect book.
Are you talking about The Lies of Lamora? Okay.
I'm an absolute sucker for thief media.
Oh, of
just
course.
in general. It's not just that book. It's not just Persona 5. It's like everything. I am a student of the Ocean's movies and the Italian Job and all that shit. It's so high up my list.
You probably haven't read this.
Oh, what do we got here?
It's a book that my dad gave to me.
The Way of Shadows. I saw these books on the shelf in the library when I was in high school.
I read like 1.5 of them so far.
Okay.
I
It always
greatly
struck-
enjoyed the first book.
It always just struck me as more of an assassin thing, not a thief thing.
Yes, that is
Okay.
true. It is an assassin thing. But
Okay.
They do like, the information gathering and, infiltration and all that. Same kind of things that a thief would, except that they kill instead of steal.
Okay.
But they also, like, handle, the obvious moral conflicts that come with that.
Is it okay if I borrow this?
Um,
I can just get it on Kindle. If not, it's fine. It's probably like $3 on Kindle.
I am okay with you borrowing it.
Your power's incredible.
Please do not lick the book.
I didn't lick it.
I know, you're
was-
smelling it. What, do you think that I, like...
I love old paperback smell.
Really?
Yeah.
Hand it here. What the hell does this smell like?
You've never smelled a book before?
Not intentionally.
God.
I've never,
It's like a whole part of the physical reading experience.
I've never, like, met a book at a cafeteria and just, like, wafted its blouse.
Like, remember when we were talking about the Lost Years of Merlin? Those
Yeah.
books were so old, and I read them like 3 years ago, and they had aged so much. But somehow,
You smelled them?
yeah, it's a strong smell. To be honest, if the book's old enough, you can smell it from reading distance while the pages are open.
I've got it. This is definitely the kind of thing that someone who reads more than me would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
Li-
I don't
li-
spend enough time perusing books to notice the way they smell.
Ask literally anyone who reads 1 or 2 books a year. I guarantee you book smell is a thing that is a real positive that actually affects the experience. Okay?
Alright, YouTube, leave a comment if you smell your books. And tell us how they smell. Please stop smelling the book. It is so fucking weird.
Now I'm doing it just to make you uncomfortable.
I know, but like, it's weird that it makes me uncomfortable because you've explained it now, but still, like, viscerally, it's just like, why are you smelling this thing that I own that is not made for smell? It's filled with text.
Oh, there's a map.
Yes, there's a map. I forgot that there was a map.
Fucking hell yeah.
Dude.
Fucking love maps, bitch.
Oh man, I should not have let you have that.
I paid money for a mapping software.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
How's
called
that commission going?
It's called Wonder Draft. Oh, for Zendikar, it's
Yeah.
going great.
Oh, cool.
I had a 3-hour. I think I told you about this. I had a 3-hour sit down with the artist where we went over all the areas of the
Oh
world
God.
and the descriptions of them after he had gotten the land masses put together correctly and
Oh, okay.
with general overview sketches of the areas, and like I'm like, okay, now let's drill down. This is this plateau. Here we go. A river flows this way. It's gonna break off here. It's
Oh
like-
my god.
Yeah.
That is not the level of detail that I would put into my maps. I know that much. Because I actually made a map for a setting for the game that I wanted to work on with Zach.
Yeah.
And that map was very simple. It was just like, here's this area, here's this area, here's this area. I guess we got some rivers or something and some mountains. There are
Got some
mountains
rivers
here.
up in this bitch.
Yeah. Give me some flowing water, asshole.
We're evenly matched here.
So here we go.
We're evenly matched here, huh, Morgana?
We're evenly matched against this level 21 twin-headed guardian. Spoilers, this is the fight of destiny.
The fight of
The
destiny.
fight where everything happens. I don't even remember what happened. Oh, right.
I remember what happened.
I remember.
You ready
now.
for it?
Yeah, it's gonna happen like right after this. Prepare your asses, YouTube. You better smell all your books now, because you won't get a chance much longer.
No.
Stop.
I didn't do it. I literally
I know,
didn't do
but
it.
like even the thought that you were going to do it is enough to make me think you're fucking weird, man. So,
Oh wait, never mind.
no, this is it. He gets
Oh, I
a
think that's
weakness against Yusuke because he used a fire attack, and then he crits me and I die immediately. Very unlikely thing to happen. So, that was a really, really big setback for us, and I'm gonna get more into the mode of trying to set us up for the next episode.
Yeah.
Because what that means is that whatever I took into there was not good enough. I don't think it's a level thing because we're on level. That thing was level 21. I think it's also not necessarily that my party was bad because it was just bad luck that I got crit. It had like a 1 in 4 chance of targeting me with that attack, that crit. Plus there's the chance of it critting, which is probably not that high.
Yeah,
So-
honestly, this was pure bad luck.
Pure bad luck. But still, I think next time we do this, I'm going to...
Grind up a level or two?
No, I'm going to take Yusuke out of the party.
Oh, why is that? Oh, because he
caused
can
the
get,
crit-
he can
caused
get
the 1-up.
he caused the one more. I
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, it makes
So,
sense. The other thing, I don't know for sure, but that attack looked like an insta-kill attack. So
really?
I think it working at all was maybe a fluke in the first place.
Really?
I think. I don't recognize the attack animation.
I'm surprised that they would put an insta-kill on just
Well-
a normal enemy.
Oh,
Anyway.
yeah, a lot of them have them.
Anyway, that's all we got for tonight. I've been Mitch,
I'm Matt,
and Release Fancy.
and...
Goodbye.
Oh, okay.
Have fun.
I was going to say have fun, yeah. But,
Yeah, I know, but I was leaving the dungeon, so that's why I did that. That was where we ended the session anyway, so
Bye.
have fun.